Jack is in a cold cell. There's only ground under his feet.
Oh, no.
In the cell, there is one window, but it's impossible to escape through it. It's located too high above the floor. There are no stairs and no chairs, just a shovel.
Oh my God.
The man needs to get out of the cell as quickly as possible. He can't dig a tunnel and go deep underground, since the walls are really thick. Jack would get exhausted long before finishing digging his way to freedom. Can you guess the easiest way out of the cell? He needs to dig a large hole in the ground and use the dirt to make a small hill. He can then climb it and reach the window. Ava has been wandering through the desert for days. She's tired, thirsty, and hungry. Finally, she arrives at an oasis.
Yes!
But to get to it, she needs to choose one of 3 paths. At the entrance of the first path, there's a huge dragon with 2 heads. In the middle of the second path, there are hungry tigers. And the third path is swarming with thousands of scorpions. Which path should she choose? The first path. Dragons aren't real, so she'll be safe there. Jenny walks into a cafe and orders a cappuccino.
Hello.
The cashier tells her it's her lucky day. She'll give Jenny her cappuccino for free if she manages to answer a riddle correctly.
Yes!
The cashier says, there are 2 buckets filled with water all the way to the top. The buckets are of the same height, but the temperature of the water inside the first bucket is 25 degrees Celsius, while in the second bucket it's 25 degrees Fahrenheit. If a person drops a coin in each bucket at the same time, which coin will hit the bottom of the bucket first? It takes Jenny a few minutes to answer the riddle, but she gets it right. Can you guess what she answered? She said that first, one of the coins would hit the bottom of the first bucket. It has to do with the state of the water in each bucket. At 25 degrees Celsius, water is liquid, while at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns into ice. Emily finally went to Paris. On her first day, she bought a baguette and some cheese and went to the park to have a picnic. She sat down and cut the baguette into 4 pieces. A random person next to her said,
Nice!
"Hey, it took you 12 seconds to do that." Can you figure out how long it would take Emily to cut the baguette into 8 pieces? It would take 28 seconds. Here's how it works. To cut a baguette into 4 pieces, she needs to make 3 cuts. If it takes her 12 seconds to make 3 cuts, it means that she makes 1 cut in 4 seconds. Now, if she wants to cut the baguette into 8 pieces, she'll need to make 7 cuts. So, 7 cuts, 4 seconds each, 28 seconds. Every Sunday, Mrs. Moore gives her 4 daughters some pocket money. Half of the entire amount goes to the eldest daughter, Brianna. The second sister, Amy, gets half of the amount Brianna gets. Kate gets 1/6 of the total amount. And the remaining $10 goes to the youngest daughter, Nikki. How much money does Mrs. Moore give to her daughters? Once again, Brianna gets half of the money. Amy gets half of the half, which means 1/4 of the original sum. And Kate gets 1/6. They are all some fraction of 12, so Brianna gets 6/12, Amy gets 3/12, and Kate gets 3/12. Together, this adds up to 11/12, which means that Nikki gets 1/12, which equals $10. The whole sum is 12/12, which is $120. Brianna gets $60, Amy receives $30, Kate is given $20. Hey, if I were Nikki, I would complain. Miss Taylor is the owner of a boutique that produces and sells expensive ceramics. On a Friday, when the working week was almost finished, she went to put the day's earnings in the safe and was shocked to find out that the money was gone. Someone had stolen it. Miss Taylor suspected it was one of her workers. She asked each of them what they'd been doing that day. Sloan, the sales manager, said she'd been looking for new clients. Jake, the potter, said he always made 1 cup a day, and he showed all the cups he had finished that week. Lily, the designer, said she'd been working. But she also admitted she hadn't really been productive that day because of some family issues. Who lied? Jake. There are 5 working days in a regular week. The man said he made 1 mug a day, but he only showed 4 mugs. It means he missed 1 day of work. Probably the day he needed to steal Miss Taylor's money. 2 cars, blue and red, started traveling on the same highway at the same time. The blue car is going at a speed of 60 miles per hour, and the red car is going 40 miles per hour. However, after some time on the road, they come across each other at one point. How is this possible? Well, they're traveling in opposite directions, so eventually they would pass each other anyway. Carl was a rich man who had 2 grown-up sons, Ethan and Christian. They lived in a big mansion. One day, Carl noticed that his expensive ancient vase was missing. The only people who were at home the night before were his sons. He didn't want to involve the police, so he decided to interrogate the guys himself. He saw Ethan driving through the gates. He was back from his daily visit to the gym. The young man said that the night before, he'd been practicing guitar and hadn't noticed anything strange. Then, Carl met Christian near the pool. The guy told his father, "Now I understand. Yesterday, I saw Ethan putting a box in the back seat of his car. It must have been the vase." But Carl immediately realized it was Christian who had taken the vase. How did he know? Because Ethan drives a sports car. It only has 2 seats. He couldn't have put the box in the back seat. It means Christian is lying. A math teacher told his students about Roman numerals. After that, he asked them to draw just 1 line and turn 9 into 6. His only condition was that the students couldn't take their pens off the paper until the line was finished. Mark was the first one to complete the task. How did he do it? He drew the letter S in front of I, X, and got 6. There's a patch of magic grass in a field, and it doubles in size every day. If on day 1 it's just a patch of grass, on day 2 it's twice bigger, and so on. It'll take 10 days for the grass to cover the entire field. How long will it take the grass to cover half of the field? The patch of grass doubles in size every day, so on the 9th day, half of the field will be covered with it. In a kingdom far, far away, an old king lived. The king was worried he had no heirs to his throne. One day, he came up with an idea. He decided to give each child in his kingdom a seed. He promised to make the child who grew the most beautiful plant his heir. 3 months later, thousands of children came to the palace. All of them had amazingly tall green plants in their hands, but one girl had a pot that was empty. However, she was the one the king chose to be the future queen. What made him do so? It turned out that the king had given the children fake seeds. The girl turned out to be the only honest kid.